Hey everyone, this is Mike at Sweet Briar Farm. In this video, I'm going to talk about how we deal with our manure. So there's lots of different ways you can manage manure, and there's lots of different ways you can garden, lots of different ways you can raise livestock. So all the manure we generate, I pile up, and I'll be showing you the different piles and stages of manure. So this pile here, this is the freshest manure. This is what I just cleaned out of the bullpen over there. You saw me with the bobcat moving this. Real hot, real steamy. We'll take a look, dig in here a little bit to see how hot this pile actually is. It's reading 28 degrees Celsius, so that's 80 degrees, 85 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm gonna get the bobcat and actually give this a better stir, and we'll get a better look at it. So 99 degrees Fahrenheit there. So right about 100 degrees, 40 degrees, 37 degrees Celsius. When I was stirring it up, when I checked it, I saw a temperature as high as 125 degrees Fahrenheit. So hopefully the camera's picking up the steam. This is one of the few examples I can think about with actually seeing microbial action and process. The other one would be if you were fermenting beer or making beer and seeing the churning and the carbon dioxide come out through the airlock. You're seeing the microbial metabolism products being produced here. Here with the steam, that's heat. Basically, with the microbial action, energy that is lost as heat. It would be the best way to explain it. So this pile here, being as fresh and rich in nitrogen as it is with the manure, has a lot of thermophilic bacteria in there right now. So thermophiles are bacteria that thrive in heat from 60 to 80 degrees Celsius or 140 to 176 degrees Fahrenheit. I've had piles in that I've checked in the winter time and in the middle of the pile, and I guarantee it's hotter and deeper inside if I go. But as soon as I'm opening that up, I'm losing a lot of heat there, so it's hard to get an accurate measurement with this type of thermometer. But I've had piles as hot as 170 degrees Fahrenheit, which is actually too hot for a compost pile. You start losing more of the nutrients back into the atmosphere. So this is a fresh pile, lots of carbon in there with the hay and straw, and lots of nitrogen from the manure and urine. So this pile here, it'll be a good 6-7 months before it's actually ready to be put out in the field. So by fall, if I keep this pile stirred up, it will actually be ready faster. So this pile out here is a little bit older, not by much. I basically moved this pile from down below the hill here up to the top. So I'm anticipating this to be still pretty hot as well. Here you can see it's a little bit more broken down, less of that straw inside. Still a lot of manure in here. Right there it's reading 14 degrees Celsius or 57 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not very hot right there, but I didn't go very deep. Here you can see some mushrooms actually coming out of this pile. So that's another indicator that this pile is not very hot. And this one seems to have more organic matter, the straw and hay waste in it. And that's going to cool your pile down too. The nitrogen's the growth limiting factor for these microorganisms. They need the nitrogen to produce their proteins and nucleic acids, so their DNA and RNA. So this one's, yeah, this pile's got a lot of straw in it. Better spot to dig. See some steam. 104 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 40 degrees Celsius. It's a little bit older pile, not quite as hot. Yeah, right around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And like I said, I'm losing heat as soon as I open that up. It'll be 120, 130 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's a little bit older pile than the first pile. And this pile here is from last fall as well, so this one's an older pile too. 61 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 13 degrees Celsius. So this pile's cooling off. Could go for a stir and probably heat it back up a bit, which it does need a stir. You can see it's got, it's pretty damp too. It's been raining. Still some straw left in there. So this pile's pretty cool. About the same, 61. So the ground temperature here in the sun is 65 degrees. A few inches below the surface, about 6 inches or so. About 53. Right about 50 degrees. So our soil temperatures are still pretty cool, about 50 degrees. A few weeks before we're going to be planting and spreading this stuff around. But so this is my final compost product. We'll take a temperature reading of this. There's a little bit of uncomposted carbon in here, some wood chips and a little bit of straw, but this for the most part is complete, ready to put out in a garden bed. In this spot here, the temperature's reading about 49 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 10 degrees Celsius. In the same temperature, about 48 degrees Fahrenheit, 9.7 degrees Celsius. But there's some straw material left in here, but all the manure is largely broken down. Very usable, fertile compost for your garden beds. Alright, so we got the mostly finished compost. The freshest over there, real hot. And then a little bit older pile, cooling off. They all need to be rotated a bit, warm them back up, stimulate those microbes. So all that hay waste that the cows threw on the ground and pooped on and peed on all winter long, it's not a waste. It's going to go back into the ground. Use that to fertilize my crops.